All right, I think we are live now. Let me have a look. Okay, we are live now. Thank you so much for coming on the social. I think we were doing live early. It was a private, so but good to have you once again. I think you are somebody who I've been looking forward to have you on the channel for a very long time. I met you about 6 or 8 months back at India Blockchain Week in Mumbai, and of course I came across your book Bitcoin Magnet, and I've been seeing you appearing on different conferences organized by government, some of them by private institutions, some of the colleges and university. So it has been dream to talk to you about what exactly is going on in India related to blockchain and cryptocurrency. So good to have you. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. I'm fine. It's great to be here with you.
Thank you so much, sir. So tell us, because you've been involved for a very long time, and so tell us, like, what is it that excited you to be into the space, first of all, and why are you so passionate about this whole topic and technology?
See, my focus since last 15 years has been philosophy of money.
Yeah.
And since 2003, I've been exploring this particular domain, and I realized that something is seriously wrong with money. And I actually try to implement this particular thing, this particular pain point in my own family. My grandfather used to earn 50 bucks a month, and he had 7 kids. He was a middle class. My father used to earn 500 bucks, and he had 4 kids, and he was a middle class. And I used to earn 50,000 bucks, and I had only 1 kid, and I was still a middle class.
Right.
So I realized that why these three generations have lived nearly below average lifestyle with full of debt and full of financial problems despite being so honest, so hardworking. Why these generations have not been able to go beyond a middle class status despite being completely capable of transcending that status.
Right.
And then I started discovering and exploring this particular domain, and I realized after a lot of research that the fundamental problem is the design, the monetary design under which we are living. Current money is basically dependent upon a lender of last resort function,
Right.
which means there is a central bank. It will lend to everybody in its geographical territory, which means there are very few people, few groups, or few power elites who control that lending function. And this is not just in one country, this is across the countries. So within a group of countries, one country with the maximum power will be sitting at the top, and the other countries will be going down depending upon their power status. So when I realized that in this world, till nation states are the only actors in the realm of money, we cannot have a fair notion of money.
Right.
And when in early 2012, I happened to read a very small article in Bitcoin magazine by Vitalik. It
Right.
was around 500 word article, and the moment I read it, I could see that this was a rupture. This was a rupture that society, humanity has been waiting for since ages. To be honest, in this world, lender of last resort function on a global level was challenged for the first time in a peer to peer manner by Bitcoin.
Right.
And when Bitcoin was there, and it was when I started in this area, Bitcoin was around $20.
Okay.
There
Okay.
were only three cryptocurrencies, and the total cryptocurrency market cap was just $0.1 billion.
Okay.
$0.1 billion, just $100 million.
Correct.
So I
Right.
have seen that jump from point billion to 800 billion, from three cryptocurrencies to over 1500 cryptocurrencies.
Right.
So I can see that what is the scale of innovation which has been unleashed precisely because humanity has found something which they had been waiting for last hundreds and thousands of years.
Right.
And this is something which is not just revolutionary, rather, I would say this is actually the beginning of a new paradigm. And
Right.
that paradigm has a grammar which we are yet to decode, and that's my job. I am a philosopher, and I think my job is to decode what this paradigm means for everybody.
Right. For the first time ever in the history, we have money which is not controlled by a human or not generated by a human. For the first time ever, we have money which is generated by the mathematics and algorithms and which is decentralized.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
because until now we had, like you rightly mentioned, so you had this group of people, maybe a government organization who is been printing money, and we have seen that human always become greedy, they always make
yeah, yeah,
errors.
yeah. See, there is another aspect to it. See, we human beings have we are assumed to have free will. We are creatures of a choice. It is assumed that we can actually make a choice. But the problem for the last 5,000 years have been that we cannot make a global choice in terms of money. So when you cannot make a choice, it means that your resources will always be constrained by a certain set of powers.
Right.
So Bitcoin was something which gave humanity for the first time a choice which was completely independent of lender of last resort function. So we created a system of money which was not dependent on debt. And that is something that has never been seen till date.
Right. So now, okay, for everyone who is joining us, I think there are 14, 15 people watching us. Let me just say hi to everyone. There are 16 people watching us. So, uh, 17, okay. Hi Devashish. Let me just say hi to everyone. Hi Gandhiji. Hi Devashish Sangam. Hello Samuel. Hi Shiva. I'm so glad to join. Great. I'm so pleased to have you. Uh, Vinod. Okay. Hi. Hi Dinakar. Good to have you. Okay, great, sir. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Welcome. Put your questions if you have any in the chat box, and I'll be glad. So now coming back to the same philosophy of the money, one of the things that we have recently seen is that there have been resistance from almost all the central governments
Mhm.
across the globe. But I have to say that somehow the US regulators and US governments are much more advanced in understanding any technology. And
Mhm.
recently, actually, they said that of course they were also against it until last year. I think they could not also figure out what exactly is going on. So recently, the CFTC and SEC guys, they said that, this is something that we owe it to the next generation. And recently, last week and 2 weeks back, they said that okay, Bitcoin and Ethereums are not the securities. And you also see that I mean, there are various exchanges like Coinbase, you have Gemini, you have futures trading happening there. And now we had resistance from Indian regulators recently that they said that, you know what, we will not let any entity which is regulated by RBI to support the cryptocurrency exchanges. And that eventually means that the cryptocurrency exchanges, which are nothing but the entrepreneurial startups in India, which will some way or the other help India as a country to grow, that so what do you think, where is the understanding, is there a lack of understanding among regulators, Indian regulators? Of course, having said that, they now have changed a little bit of decision, they are drafting some rules, but where do you see the lack of understanding when it comes to India in adopting this technology?
See, I will respond this question in two ways. One is philosophical, and the other one is basically empirical. So, first set of response is on a fundamental layer, what is happening? See, what is happening that across the world, the rise of crypto is like the rise of ants.
Right.
It's a rise of ants.
Yeah.
It's a bottom up revolution, and that revolution has moved so fast that all the vertical structures which had been dominating the scene, they have yet not been able to understand what is happening. And even if they are able to impact 10 or 20% of the crypto sector in some way, roughly 80 to 90% of sector will keep on growing despite positive or negative regulations. That's a fundamental fact, because I've been observing this particular domain for now over 6 years, and I see that over such a distance, government regulations don't make pretty serious impact. That's first set of the response. Second set of the response is empirical. When I say empirical, in this world, there are basically three categories of nations. First category of nations who have responded to crypto. First category of nations are those nations which are small jurisdictions, which have been acting as tax havens. For example, Gibraltar, Malta, Switzerland, Ukraine, Belarusia, Singapore, like these countries. Now, these countries have a very serious stake in development of crypto world, because these countries stand by a movement of free capital. So these countries are independent nation states, they are independent jurisdictions. So their response is broadly positive. And rather, not only positive, rather, I would say that they are actually trying to outcompete each other. You'll be
True.
surprised to know that Belarusia, the president of Belarusia, Alexander Lukashenko, has announced that they will give 3-year tax holiday to all crypto startups.
Wow. Wow.
So, so that's one category. The second category is of those generations which I would call middle generations. Middle generations means which don't have a very serious power interest around money in terms of global power. For example, South Korea, Russia, Australia, United Kingdom. These countries are countries where they think that they need to take a well drafted, well balanced position, which should not look extreme,
Right.
but and which should not look lax. So, in a way, South Korea is both positive as well as negative.
Yeah.
So, and then comes the top category. The top category belongs to those countries which have a stake in building a long term regime or long term monopoly trading systems. For example, America or China.
Right.
So, China has gone all the way out to ban crypto, all the crypto exchanges and ICOs. And America is trying to figure out where does it stand.
Correct.
Because if they impose a negative stance, then America will lose its original status as a country with free movement of capital, trade, and innovation.
Right.
And since in crypto sector, innovation is happening at a breakneck speed, and America would not like to lose that particular status. And even whatever they have announced till date, it has not been put into practice. Even if their stances may seem negative, but that negativity has not been put into practice. Some kind of restraint on ICO is fairly welcome, no doubt
Right.
about
True.
that.
True.
But they have not said exchanges are illegal or ICOs are illegal, because they have realized for the first serious fact is that on the fundamental level there is something new happening, and that is rise of bearer instruments. Now, what is a digital bearer instrument? uh, because this is a crypto.
Correct.
Crypto is a digital bearer instrument which doesn't need a centralized third party for clearing and settlement. And on an economic level, bearer instruments will always be scalable and efficient and cost effective. Now, the challenge for SEC and CFTC is how to regulate that. And for regulating that, they need to do two things. First, they need to build a global KYC common database.
Right.
global KYC. And second, they need to build a global coordinated library of open source contracts. For example, if contracts from Hong Kong, Japan, and US, they can work together, then all crypto exchanges, all crypto businesses can work together. But for this, a lot of political initiative is needed. Diplomats and statesmen needs to understand crypto. And that's an area where America doesn't have any leadership. Donald, you can't expect this kind of thing from Donald Trump.
True.
So as a result, America on a regulatory front is literally trying to work out its way. And to work out its way, it needs a support from both academia, entrepreneurial sector, and political sector. And that holistic response by a big state is not always possible. And that is what has happened in India too.
Right.
In terms of a governance apparatus, India is a very large country, and Indian government is actually multiple heads talking to nobody. So that's why a cogent response is missing. And this will happen with all the big countries who want to find their place in the global sun. So who want to create their own money empire. But this is no more possible.
Right. True. This is what even I noticed. That you rightly pointed out that the countries like Malta and Switzerland, they have been very aggressive when it comes to adopting this technology. I mean, they have, probably they are trying to be ahead in the game, and there are few countries who are very resistant, and they are taking every step, like thinking twice, thrice, and I think India is one of them, because they actually said earlier something else. Now we have this Secretary of Economic Affairs. He's saying that, what, we are very close to drafting something, and we are going to be presenting this on the first week of July. So one of the very good thing happened, because I keep I'm closely connected with the crypto community here in India, is that there was a lot of concern about the 5th July, because that was the last day for the cryptocurrency exchanges. Of course, what I believe is that there are millions of people here in India who actually may be trading or different exchanges, and it's really important. Maybe for some of them it's a bread and butter, and
Yeah.
if they can't do that on the Indian exchanges, that it is going to create an impact. And of course, a lot of people also had this complaint that, what, the government cannot create employment, at least whatever is there, you can't take that away. So one good thing that happened, that Supreme Court said that, okay, let's do a hearing on 3rd of July. So now two things. So there are 3rd of July hearing, and then there is a draft ready. What do you see the possibilities now? Because that RBI is the announcement of 3 months still valid, like until 5th of July. So do you see that changing? What's your prediction on that?
See, it's very difficult to make a short-term prediction, but I can definitely make a mid-term and a long-term prediction.
Right.
See, let's be very clear about that ultimately all governments have made this statement public, that blockchain technology is good for everybody.
Right.
And they are also realizing that this policy of separating crypto from blockchain is actually not going to work.
Correct.
And even China, despite having such a radical stand on crypto, is now thinking of uh, revisiting that negative policy.
Right. True.
Now, the point is, if Russia started with a negative policy, Ukraine and Belarusia jumped upon that possibility and of attracting crypto capital. So we need to understand that there is a definite geo-economics of blockchain, which means anybody which says no to crypto is only going to lose because other countries are going to jump on the opportunity.
Cool.
So the point is, Indian government doesn't have the regulatory capacity to reflect upon that. And on that count, I would say, to be honest, both Indian government and crypto community are responsible. Because let's
Yeah.
assume a year back or so, Digital Assets and Blockchain Foundation of India was a cross-industry initiative. It moved couple of steps, but it could not move further. Why we as a crypto community could not build a strategic think tank?
Right. Mm.
Why we crypto community could not build a single research institution around crypto?
Right.
The problem is that if somebody is making 50x from crypto boom,
Yeah.
at least some percentage, some small percentage of that gain should be invested in building long-term intellectual resources for the wider community.
Yeah.
And in the wider community, government is also a stakeholder.
Okay. Okay.
So that's an area where we all actually missed an opportunity to build an intellectual apparatus. For example, Coin Center exists in US, and SEC decision that Bitcoin and Ethereum are not a security is a decision that has been actually prepared in consultation and in actually deep interaction with Coin Center. Jerry Brito and Peter Van have been doing fundamental work in that sense, but we don't have our own Jerry Brito and Peter Van.
Correct.
So Indian blockchain community needs to work much more deeply so that they can actually be in a situation where they can guide not only government but also crypto entrepreneurs. And we need to diversify from just crypto investors to crypto entrepreneurs.
Correct. Right, sir. You so for everyone who is joining us, I want to say that I have Mr. Sunil Agarwal. He is the author of Bitcoin Magnet. Let me show you here on the screen the book if you want to pick up, which is available on Flipkart and Amazon.in. Bitcoin Magnet, and he was also has been at different conferences. I mean, recently he was at a conference in Bangalore. The National Law College, I guess, National Law School. And yeah, I think that you were at a Bangalore Tech Summit also, sir. This was Government of Karnataka organized by that blockchain conclave. So would you like to share your thoughts from whatever takeaway is from various conferences, and how is, because what I've noticed really is that you have also been looking at the government applications of blockchain technology, for example, the Andhra Pradesh, and so would love to know that how is, apart from crypto, how is government looking at utilizing blockchain. I recently came across India Chain. I had no clue about it. India Chain by Niti Aayog. So they build up. So how are you seeing governments actually using blockchain technology for various sectors?
See, there are two things within that. See, it's no doubt about that some governments have been very active in embracing blockchain technology. Particularly, I know personally, government of Andhra Pradesh and government of Karnataka are actually running blockchain related POCs right now.
Okay.
So, particularly, Special Advisor to CM Mr. J.H. Chaudhary has been on the forefront of leading blockchain initiatives in state of Andhra Pradesh. And even in Karnataka, there are at present two blockchain POCs going. One is for, I think, Forest Department, and other is for Food Department. So these things are actually happening. And even my knowledge is that very soon, Karnataka state government is going to build an innovation authority, Karnataka Innovation Authority, where they will be staging a regulatory sandbox kind of thing, where they will invite blockchain startups to develop solutions for government.
Okay.
They have already conducted a very long blockchain hackathon. where more than 70 startups participated, and they said that we want solutions for 6 different sectors. So there is activity. But having said that, the fundamental reason is that blockchain developers are dominated by a certain set of political ideologies, and those ideologies can be called anarchist, libertarian, and they believe in open world.
True.
They believe in borderless world.
Yeah.
And with such a kind of radical thinking, it becomes sometimes impossible to work in a sector which is already too bureaucratic and where the scope for freedom or scope for innovation is very, very constrained. So the point is that in this case, government needs to understand that without building a healthy blockchain ecosystem, no government would be able to make use of real applications. If let's assume if India says no to crypto, all good blockchain developers will move out of India.
Yeah.
So if the policy is that India should have at least a 1 million blockchain developers in next 5 years, then the density of crypto application, the density of e-governance applications on blockchain will be much, much higher.
Right.
And we need to understand whether it is blockchain technology or any other technology, it takes time to mature.
Correct.
A POC needs to become a minimum viable product, MVP, and an MVP needs to actually fit into a market kind of situation. So POC to MVP, MVP to PMF, all these things need to happen over a period of time. And without the active support of a very large and very diversified blockchain community, this is practically impossible.
Right. Yeah.
So that's an area where actually government needs to understand that in this we don't need to adopt a policy of crypto wrong, blockchain right.
True.
Because ultimately blockchain is meant to ensure crypto incentives.
Correct.
If we don't allow those incentives to work, we will not be allowing blockchain technology applications to proliferate.
Correct.
And that's an area where I think we need to actually draw a line that this won't work.
Right.
Blockchain and crypto are one and the same thing.
Correct. So what I understand, what my understanding is about cryptos is that's the incentive mechanism for a person, for a participant who is not dependent on somebody's permission, or the incentive mechanism is not centralized, because this is where the game is. If you centralize the incentive mechanism, then there is a chances of manipulation, and that is what we have seen so far. Yeah, for every organization that you work for, you have a centralized incentive mechanism that these are your responsibility, these are yours, and this is what you will be paid. But in the permissionless blockchain, that's not the case. I mean, if the source is open code, you can look into it, and you will be rewarded as per your performance, as per your action. So that's quite an integral part. And you rightly said you cannot. I mean, in fact, nobody can really try to separate blockchain from cryptocurrencies, and we see that already happening, that eventually most of the countries are extremely positive. You talk about South Korea is like staying ahead in the game. Japan, we already know that the first country to legalize. So we just hope that India follows the path. I really want to take up some questions from here. So in the meantime, how do you see, let's say if the regulators draw a framework for cryptocurrencies, which there is a talk going on. So of course the cryptocurrency exchanges will continue to operate. Do you see there'll be some guidelines for ICOs as well? Because ICOs are also an integral part of the new innovations. I mean, needless to say that there are a lot of ICOs which are scammy and all that, and that is where I think regulators do need to play a part, so that they can make sure that not everyone is get cheated, and they can save people from getting into those scammy ICOs. But so what kind of regulations or guidelines do you see coming in for ICOs, or any ICOs, or any DApp that is on your mind from India which is coming up, or even across the globe, that you are very excited about?
See, there are a lot of things in your question. Let me move one by one. See, as far as government trying to build an ICO framework, this thing is concerned. See, let's assume one thing for certain is that we cannot expect a perfect regulation from government.
Right.
Every regulation on crypto will always be less than perfect.
Right.
So, in that context, I do feel that in India, corporate law bodies, whether they are in government or semi government or outside government, they need to understand that ICO has actually liberated the limited liability company concept. If you want to build a private limited company, then you must have not more than 200 retail investors. And there has to be a voting mechanism, to a 51% voting mechanism. And if there is public limited company, then number of investors go high, but everything should happen in a KYC mode. Since an ICO is not dependent on a KYC mode, number one. Number two, it is not dependent on a on a banking mediator.
Yeah.
So it means no no traditional kind of system can actually stop an ICO from moving fast.
Correct.
Now, if a government is to develop a regulatory framework for ICOs, then only dozens of governments, if they come together, they can actually build a good framework. Till intergovernmental participation, intergovernmental, international collaboration doesn't happen, no government will be able to build a credible ICO framework. So, second thing, that we have yet not seen certain massive killer applications. Let's assume, for the time being, that BAT, Brave browser, comes out in a commercial mode out of now their current beta mode. And if they start rewarding people in micro incentives on a daily basis by watching ads, if somebody thinks that he can earn $1 per day in a country like India, and Brave browser is an OTT app, which means if 50 million people download a Brave browser, what will be the eventual price of BAT token?
True. Yeah.
So let's extend this example to Storj coin, or we extend this example to Golem. See, there are multiple use cases of crypto where KYC regulations cannot be implemented at all. So in that case, what governments need to understand that we need to build a global KYC database. If they are serious about uh, this CFL and anti-money laundering laws.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if governments are fighting with each other, then they cannot build a global quality regulatory framework. So the problem is government says that people should be innovative. Yes, accepted. Government says companies should be innovative. Accepted. Yes. Then doesn't it apply to the government itself that government should be innovative? So if our prime minister can go to 50 countries, the point is, what is the innovation output of those 50 countries?
True.
What is the innovation index of our own government in last 4 years?
Right.
So the problem is when government says something, media doesn't ask a counter question, what is your score on innovation? So a non-innovative person cannot build a regulatory framework for an innovative sector.
True.
So that's why government regulation will always be limited, and we should not be too dependent on that.
Correct.
And if crypto community starts working on decentralized autonomous ICO model proposed by Vitalik,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
da ICO,
Dice. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, there is a serious possibility that people will be bringing solutions which will be community governed solutions.
Correct.
And just wait for 2 or 3 killer apps by end of 2018,
Yeah.
and just wait for Casper protocol to be unleashed by end of 2018. Things will be so different, and no government will be able to stop. Let's assume if some guy in Muzaffarnagar wants to open a pizza shop,
Right.
and he wants just 5 million rupees,
Right.
and he says to all the neighborhood families that I will give you 50% discount on pizza provided you buy my token.
Yeah.
See, we need to understand that ICO is not meant for millions and dollars.
Correct.
ICO is meant for hazars and lakhs and crores and rupees and takas.
Correct.
So once the transaction cost goes down, people from small countries and small cities, they will be using ICO model, and no government can stop it.
Sir, I have a beautiful example. This morning, I was reading this report by an ICO, Lemmy ICO, something, I forgot the name. In their report, they came out with a report that how many people actually contributed to this ICO, what are those countries, and what is the retention rate, like how many people actually sold off the tokens after these 6 months of ICO. And I was shocked to see that they were participants from USA. And to my knowledge, USA has said no to ICO, so no one should participate, but people are still participating in ICO. So
Yes.
of course there is a loophole, and no regulation and no law really can stop. So you're right saying that it's not gonna happen. If one country decides that this is it's very difficult to actually follow that. People will find a way around it. And one of the things that you mentioned, sir, is about, once again, I'm sorry, I forgot. Yeah, let me just take the questions. I think in the meantime, I'll remember the questions that I had. So, Vasu says, 3rd July, what's going to happen according to your opinion? Please let us know. Dinakar says, sir, how your book emphasizes all these things. Yeah, please. So, in case you want to find out, Dinakar, please go ahead, get a copy of Bitcoin Magnet. I'm sure. So, I think you have also written the philosophical point, which most people actually ignore. I think I heard it from, I think this was your post or someone else's post, but the post was like this, that the blockchain is not just a technology, or it's more of a philosophy, or maybe it's as good as technology as a philosophy. So I think most people actually
See, I would rather add to that.
yeah.
See, if crypto community can do one serious thing which they have yet not done seriously,
Yeah.
and that is bring women into crypto.
Oh yeah, correct.
Because try to understand that if woman is interested in something, men may like it, may dislike it, but they cannot ignore it.
True.
In this country, there are at present more than 1 million kitty clubs,
Correct.
and they work on a weekly or a monthly basis, and entire money is collected in a cash mode.
Yeah.
So if India's OTC player or players
Right.
tie up with these ladies,
Yeah.
if they build a trust network, then cash to crypto and crypto to cash ecosystem can be built in such a big way that no government can actually stop that.
True.
The problem is in India or abroad as well, that this awareness network is not spreading as fast as should.
As you should, exactly, yeah.
And second thing is that still developer community is 95% dominated by males,
True. Hmm.
because blockchain is not just tech, it's an alternative social vision. So if you are suffering from a patriarchy kind of thing or a woman hating kind of mindset, then you are not a serious crypto guy.
True.
So if you learn to respect female, if you know how to make them friends, then this ground is a ground which is hugely scalable.
Yeah.
And you must feel that today, if you want to make decentralized Instagram, decentralized Facebook, decentralized YouTube, females would be the massive users.
True, I
So
agree.
what we should do, that we should actually propagate these applications and build a larger community database. Because hodling is okay if only 10 to 20% do hodling. But if more than 50% people are doing hodling, then what would happen? The scalability and the adoption curve will not work in their favor. So that's an area where females should actually come, and that will create a wave that will be that will be simply unstoppable. And remember, all big things were created by man and woman together.
I agree with you, sis. I see a lot of women from other countries, and I think why they should not. Because see, sometimes even women say that, you know what, it's a male-dominated world, you know. But see, here you have this. This is massive transformation of wealth, right? Transition of wealth. So women should definitely be a part of it, because then don't blame otherwise late that okay, again it's the male who became rich. If 90% and 70% of these gonna be male who are actually buying into cryptocurrencies, and for example like YouTuber, like somebody like me, or maybe, you know, like developers like you mentioned, if it's all going to be male, then again it's going to be turning into the same thing. So
I would rather suggest in a bit in a popular way.
yeah,
See, Raksha Bandhan is going to come in a couple of months.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
if all sisters demand from their brothers that I should be gifted in crypto,
Correct. That's the best way. Yeah.
in my own family, on last Bhaiya Dooj, my son gave her sister Shagun in Ether.
Wow.
We have a family tradition that all the gifts should be made in crypto.
Hmm.
And slowly that things are changing. And if the entire gifting economy, which is very seriously dominant in India, if gifting economy shifts to crypto,
Yeah.
it will create a massive wave. Because decentralized structures should also be followed by decentralized ownership, which means more and more people should have crypto,
Right.
which means Gini coefficient should work towards the bottom end, not towards the upper end.
Yeah. I think this is the best idea you have given. So everyone who is watching, or maybe will be watching this video later on, you know, this Raksha Bandhan, gift your sister in probably a Bitcoin. Just ask her to download a Bitcoin wallet on her phone, and just give her like 0.1 Bitcoin Cash, if not Bitcoin. Bitcoin Cash is much faster and a lot cheaper. So I think that's the best way of getting them, you know. So this is something that I used to do, and now I also do sometime whenever I have an opportunity. That, you know what, you want to understand crypto, just download a wallet. Just download a
Yes.
wallet, and if I have like Bitcoin Cash, maybe 0.1 or 0.001, maybe 50 rupees, if you can transfer and show you that it really works. This is not just in the books. You know, just experience and feel it. And
And most interesting thing is that government has yet not realized that how wrong it can be. See, crypto is giving people an opportunity to earn through multiple livelihood sources.
Yeah.
So if you can earn through BAT or Storj, if or Golem, for
Yeah.
example, in India there are at present 200,000 schools and roughly 50,000 undergraduate colleges, universities, and other institutions. Every institution has an average of 50 to 100 desktops. So, if you actually aggregate the power of these machines, we can actually become a decentralized data storage powerhouse of the world.
Right.
It will be a separate source of income for all the school, for all the colleges, plus it will be a great awareness campaign. So the point is, India needs to understand that 1.3 billion people with their digital labor, with their machine labor, can earn in crypto. If India wants to be rich, crypto is the best way forward.
True. I have esports in the chat box. He says that it is possible that boyfriends will start paying their girlfriends in cryptos.
Why not? See, I'm all for it. All the dating apps
Yeah, yeah, correct.
should enable crypto payments. And in that case, to be honest, decentralized Tinder and decentralized Facebooks and decentralized LinkedIn's is a great area where we need to work.
True, true. Okay, so Dinakar says, what is the situation in our India regulating Bitcoin and cryptocurrency? Need your suggestion. How? Okay. Vasu says 3rd July. Who is the India blockchain? Any blockchain community that we have so far, sir? For anyone to join, apart from this AIMAI Indian Mobile Association is one I heard of, and then you have one more you mentioned just now, the decentralized assets of India. I think these are the two communities that we have, right? Any other communities that we have so far?
See, as far as the industry associations are concerned, things are not very rosy. See, having a body is one thing, and building a strategic think tank is entirely different thing. So, for example, if let's assume that we have a cryptocurrency wing that specializes in international trade. Recently, we have seen that our oil import bill has actually ballooned. Now, if Venezuela is offering us a 30% discount on petrol,
Yeah,
which means India is going to save billions of dollars of money if we start accepting it in crypto.
amazing. Yeah,
So the point, it might be the case that petro might need more work, but the point is, down the line, if India can save billions of dollars through shifting to crypto, why it should not?
exactly.
And the future of asset backed or commodity backed cryptocurrencies is very, very bright because ultimately it will bring down the volatility.
True.
See, for example, every damn country, there are roughly 200 countries, when they go out to make an international purchase, they have to pay in dollars.
Yeah,
And dollar price is always volatile.
correct.
So if dollar price is volatile, Bitcoin price is volatile, then it's better to build a commodity backed cryptocurrency.
Correct.
Why not have a global uniform common price table for at least top 20 commodities or assets? And that's an area where we have to move because otherwise these bank NPS will kill us. Ultimately, all assets will have to be transformed into liquid assets.
Correct.
If we are dependent on bank-led fiat currency systems, then we will not be able to liquidate them. The fact is, cryptocurrencies are saying to us that this world is shifting to a digital barter era. See, you are today using dollar as only a unit of account, not as a medium of exchange.
True.
So we need fiat currencies, but only as a unit of account, not as a store of value or not as a medium of exchange.
Right.
So that's an area where we need to understand that world has moved back to barter era, but a peerless, peer-to-peer global barter era, and where money as a unit of account would be different, money as medium of exchange would be different, and money as store of value would be different. So the money definition has been ruptured in such a way that we need to realize that fiat currency can no more function on all these three parameters in a sustainable basis.
This is something that I realized, I was doing a workshop and I was preparing some content for the workshop. And this is what I realized, that, what, we are moving back to the barter system. We are moving back to the barter system because now, if I want to, like, every cryptocurrencies are in some or the other form the assets. And if you go back like 100 years back, those were also assets. So maybe rice was used to be exchanged for whatever, grain or whatever. So that was the exchange of assets. And it's the same thing right now. So when people actually trade their Bitcoin for Ethereum or any other, so eventually you are actually, it is a barter because it is from one asset to the other asset. So this is a very good point that you mentioned. And I have a question from Samuel Abhishek. He has actually the similar question on the security token, something that you just mentioned right now. He says, Sunil sir, what is your take on security tokens? Do you think the security tokens will take off? Is tokenizing all things possible, like securities, equities, real estate, bonds, etc.?
See, let me answer this question one by one. See, security token ultimately will take the shape of a digital bearer instrument. If, let's assume, you have 100 shares of RIL. At present, these shares are sitting in your demat account at NSDL, National Securities Depository Limited. Now, what it is NSDL? And NSDL is a centralized architecture where you are the client and they are the server. So it's a client server architecture. Now, this entire client server architecture is now going to shift into a decentralized distributed ledger database kind of systems with proper KYC system. So whatever is there on a centralized database systems will eventually shift into a blockchain based system. So that's equally relevant for stocks, bonds, or any kind of assets or commodity exchanges. That's one thing. Second thing is that ultimately on a basic level, if something is saving cost, reducing risk, and saving time, blockchain is able to do all these three things. The world will eventually move towards that. But the fundamental problem, which very few people are able to say, that we are ruled by a class, whether it is political class or a bureaucratic class, these people are sloppy. They are inefficient. They need to actually start working seriously. Since we are not being ruled by a proactive ruling class, we are facing these problems. And blockchain technology is not only going to save a huge cost, it will also stop people from turning into another Nirav Modi or Vijay Mallya. Ultimately, the banking sector is going to have a very seriously stable and secure architecture. But if they are going to ban crypto and blockchain technology development, then they are basically shooting their feet.
Yeah. I saw, I think a couple of months back, there is a hotel in New York, and so that is going to be on the security tokens. And in fact, this interview was on the CNBC and Bloomberg. Now this international media like CNBC and Bloomberg, they are very proactive when it comes to really talking about cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, and security tokens. They are very proactive. I mean, those kind of conversations. So yeah, that's the takeaway that I had from that. I want to take a couple of. Okay, Manohar was watching our interview. He just ordered a copy of Bitcoin Magnet on Flipkart.
Thank you.
Thank you, Manohar. Let us know. Esports says, does Sunil sir think that this model may be accepted in India too, as RBI is so pissed off against crypto usage? SEC loves to keep everything in some kind of bucket, so they made some broad stroke. Yeah, so basically Esports is asking, do you think that this model will be accepted in India too, as RBI is pissed off?
Okay. So let me start this particular thing with a long-term prediction.
Yeah.
See, in 1991, BSNL was a dominant player.
Yeah.
But today, what has happened to BSNL?
Right.
In the world of mobile telecommunication, BSNL is literally a ignored institution.
Yeah.
Literally semi-dead institution.
Young generation do not even have heard of BSNL.
Yeah. So after 20 years, RBI will become BSNL of money systems. That's my prediction.
Right.
So with that prediction, I must try to emphasize upon this fact that moment two killer applications emerge from crypto, and my prediction is that it may be BAT
tokens. Okay.
BAT token, Brave browser kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Or it may be in decentralized storage, or it may be in entertainment economy. This is going to happen anytime soon. Which means the moment it happens, the retail user density, the retail user population is going to increase in such a big way. For example, see why people are afraid now, because people are assuming the situation the way BlackBerry systems were stopped by government some around 6 or 7 years back.
Yeah, encryption.
Then
Yeah,
government said that all the BlackBerry servers should be situated in India, and that was the bad days for BlackBerry.
Yeah, true.
But along with that, they also said that WhatsApp should be banned 6 or 7 years back. That WhatsApp should put its own servers in India.
Oh, okay.
So they could kill BlackBerry because BlackBerry was a hardware-centric, supply chain-centric, physical location-centric system. But they could not stop WhatsApp because WhatsApp was an OTT, over the top. If an individual wants to download WhatsApp, people will use it. And what WhatsApp done? See, every Indian was not paying more than 10 rupees for messages to telecom companies per month. And WhatsApp has saved those 10 rupees per month.
Yeah, easily.
If Brave browser saves 100 rupees per month, what will be the scale of application? If 200 million WhatsApp users are there, I assume 200 million Brave users in next 5 years.
True.
So once that happens, no government will be able to say to any damn Indian, don't use crypto.
Correct.
So the problem is we are yet not able to see the scale of crypto applications right now. We think the government will be able to change the course of crypto. No, it's not going to happen at all. Just wait. Just wait. And keep working for crypto culture. Keep diversifying it, keep deepening it, keep sharing it. And you will see in another 1 year, all governments will say, hands off. We
Right.
are not going to stop crypto at all.
Right.
We are embracing it because ultimately, why government sectors, government branches cannot build applications directly on Ethereum?
Hmm. Hmm.
Why Power Grid Corporation of India cannot issue an energy backed token, ERC20 token on Ethereum? Why it cannot?
Of course. Hmm.
It can.
Of
If a
course.
private body can issue an ERC20 token standard, why a government body cannot do it?
True. Hmm.
So the issue is all NGO sector and all infrastructure sector is going to move to blockchain and crypto. Nobody can stop it. And this is my conviction that has been strengthened and strengthened in last 6 years.
Hmm. Yeah.
When I saw Bitcoin rising from $20 to 20,000,
Hmm.
so that kind of innovation scale I have already seen, and
Hmm.
no amount of government action, whether it is semi good, semi bad, good, plus bad, it's not going to impact the fundamental dynamics of crypto movement.
Hmm. Brave browser also have started giving some incentives. Recently, I saw they are giving some tokens because what I believe is very
This is not the
important.
second time they're doing.
They're doing it the second
Yeah.
time, yeah, because yeah, exactly. So I think $5 of worth Brave tokens. As soon as somebody installs a Brave browser, you get $5 worth of tokens already in your wallet. Uh,
I've already received more than 60 tokens like this.
Andy Remini is saying, his first thing he says, sir, are you sir on Twitter? So if you're on Twitter,
Yeah, I'm at Twitter. My Twitter handle is at Trust Machines.
at Trust Machine, okay.
Trust Machines. S with
Machines,
S.
okay, yes. And he also saying that the Brave BAT tokens are not withdrawable. Have you tried withdrawing BAT tokens? Is it
See, try to
withdrawable?
understand.
Yeah.
If you have received token as a gift
Free,
from
they
Brave,
won't. Yeah, correct.
then you can't do it.
Correct. Of course. I mean, you have been given to use it and not really to cash out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, great. So, thank you so much, first of all, for giving your time. It's been amazing conversation. So much of learning, so much of insights. Just want to see if there is any question here. Good question. And I know that you're a busy person. So, political class is Sloppy. Nit Ayog, yes, the Nit Ayog initiative is also, yeah, Nit Ayog is building something. Manohar bought a book, great. Agarwal, nice ideas that really works for the change in crypto. Best tweet, handwritten note, great. Sir, anything? Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone in the chat for joining us. I think thank you so much for asking your question. It's been amazing. Thanks, sir. Anything last words that you want to share with the viewers before we wrap up?
See, what we as a humanity we need to understand that we have actually created a pretty new system of not only money, system of social relations.
Right.
Earlier, we were governed by nations,
Yeah.
religions, and their respective regulatory and legal systems. For the first time in last 5,000 years, we have been given an opportunity to rewrite the slate.
Mm,
We can rewrite this world as a one planet.
correct.
We can rewrite this world as a place where man and woman would be equal.
Mm,
Where we can rewrite this world where we can say that dollar will be at par with rupee.
correct. Mm,
Where we can rewrite this world slate as a world where Africa and G20 nations can work at par.
mm,
See, a decentralized Instagram, if one like gets 1 cent, this will be equally relevant for people from Africa or people from Europe or America.
right.
So which means that in next 20 years, we are actually going to see a flat world in terms of riches,
Hmm.
which means Africa, Asia, Latin America, and all those countries which have been living as poor countries for so many decades, they will able to rewrite the history of money and history of power just because they will be able to use crypto applications. So keep believing yourself that you are at the verge of changing the history. So keep sharing, keep diversifying, and keep believing.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you
Thank you so much, sir. I
and
really
goodbye.
feel I really feel blessed to be a part of this community at this stage. And one thing that you rightly mentioned is, all of a sudden, these countries are turning into like, all of a sudden we have an economy which is borderless.
Yes.
And, you have this visa, you have this. I mean, look at how governments have actually separated this one nice earth into pieces and bits and pieces, that you are that, you are African, you are this. But all of a sudden, I mean, as far as you're human, as far as you have internet connection, in fact, I came across this news wherein you don't need an internet connection also to access Bitcoin, because I think some block stream or something, which
See,
is,
I have a very simple way of telling people.
yeah,
In 2012-13, there used to happen around 200 crypto transactions per day.
yeah, yeah.
14, 10, 2000, then 20,000, then 200,000, then 2 billion.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised. Currently, 4 million transactions are happening on a daily basis.
Hmm.
So, crypto community, if this zero is added continuously, crypto community should promise to itself that they will have billion cryptocurrency transactions by 2020.
Hmm. Right.
Leave aside everything, have a target of 1 billion crypto transactions by 2020.
Wow.
No government, no corporation can change this wave. You just focus on believing yourself. That's all.
Right. Right. Great, sir. Thank you so much for your inputs, and thank you so much everyone for joining. Dinakar, thank you. Thank you, Amit. Thank you, Ashutosh. Thank you, Mahendra. Amazing to see you all. Thank you so much. Take care, and I'm looking forward to have you soon in sometime in
Okay.
future. Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you. See you. Bye.